Over the past couple years, California has been suffering extremely dry weather. These dry weather seasons have been a constant flame for fires and destruction across the state. I was one of the few that was close enough to experience that. The Santa Clara Complex fire that burned a total of 4,000 acres between August 16th to October 1st of 2020 was the third largest wildfire in California history. In this video log, I decided to go check out the Santa Clara Complex fire, understand the damages that have happened, what the firefighters have gone through, and gain a knowledge of how my humanly instincts have impacted this world that I live in. During my trip, I got to visit the Smith Creek Fire Station, in which I spoke to Mike Sanchez. He is the current operating officer of that station. I asked a little bit about how firefighters fight a fire, what is necessary for them to be protected and safe during a fire, the techniques to kill a fire, and also I asked him about how climate change has affected these fires.
It's definitely seems like we're definitely getting a lot less water lately, which does impact. Obviously, all the fuels are a lot more drier. They're not getting the good recovery. They're more critical. Amounts lower RH. The fuel moisture is really low. So, and especially now, it's October 30th, and we still haven't really had much rain. It's still pretty hot out. And now the winds are picking up, which just helps dry out everything even more. It definitely has an effect on what's going on every season. It just seems to progressively be building off it every year. It seems like with how it's proving every year now.
So, do you think how about the heat of each fire? Do you think because it's getting so dry every year that it almost feels like these fires can get more intense and hotter because of that?
Yeah, because a lot of it, every year it's getting almost a little lower in percentages. Some areas are getting just like, oh, we're beating a new record this year, or we're beating a new record for this. And it just seems like every year we're beating more records.
Yeah.
Obviously, the lower the humidity, the lower the fuel moisture, and a lot of these things, the trees, all the brush, everything that's getting drier, it just ignites that much easier. And from preheating of the sun, it just helps carry the heat through, and all the fire through it spreads better. So I definitely think it has a huge factor on why every year we're just breaking more records and everything's getting a little bigger now.
Yeah.
It was impactful to see the damages of the fire. Being able to drive through this canyon road, through these beautiful and luscious woodsy streets, it was intense to see the destruction the fire has caused. This fire has left a ruined all on that mountaintop. No birds, no animals, no life in sight. It's scary to see how devastating a fire can be, and how this fire is a cause for climate change. I am so naive of how massive these natural disasters are. Living right here in California, I know about these fires. They're constant, they're spreading, but I go on day by day without care, suffocating through the smoke that once was here, yet not understanding why this really all mattered, why I needed to live through this. But it was because of my doing. It was because of how little I have done to accomplish or change the fact that these fires are growing and I am doing nothing to stop them. I don't necessarily need to be a firefighter to stop these fires. I need to be a human that understands climate change is affecting us in a much bigger way. At the very top of the mountain, there's an observatory. This observatory may not be popular, but it had a special meaning in San Jose. Seeing how close the fires got, how intense they were, It's insane that this observatory still stands thanks to our firefighters. But as you look around, you see the blackness all around. You see this one little white dome up on the mountaintop around a huge land mass of blackness. It's amazing to see how much destruction a fire can cause and how climate change is constantly evolving and changing, how little I have done to do anything about that. It's hard to say that our future can be bright with all of this destruction around us, with our pandemic, the fires, constant climate change. I don't see a future that can be very sustainable. I see a future where we may be entering space shuttles and virtually visiting these forests that we once loved to see. It's scary to believe that you can't feel an intensity of how the world feels. And no matter how good a virtual reality can be, physically being there means so much more than actually looking through it from a goggled eyes. Chasing ice has opened me to this opportunity to visit the Santa Clara complex fires. This opportunity also changed the way I view climate change. I would take the opportunity to learn and implement the tools to live a sustainable life. Living a balanced, eco-friendly life can be difficult, but it's also hard to realize how much of an impact you really are making. Climate change is a really slow process. I always believe that if I did the little here, a little there, make a big difference. However, I didn't realize how long that really meant. I never understood that it can be many years, decades, or even centuries to see the results. This work has shown me that it's a slow process. It takes the time to understand what it really means, what climate change really means to humans, to myself, and how it affects me.